Hello, everybody. So, today we're going to be creating so many different flyers, and you're going to be learning all the different tips and tricks that I use. So, first things, we're going to go to create a design. You're going to click on Instagram post because those are normally the layouts that most social media sites use, and most of the flyers that you'll be making are specifically for social media content. So we're going to go to Pinterest.com. Then you're also going to go on remove.bg. So for Pinterest, we're going to go to makeup photo shoot. This is specifically for the flyer that we're creating today. This first one that we're creating is going to be like a brand ambassador wanted flyer. So just make sure that the image that you use, that the person is facing front, or you can use a group of people in a flyer. Just make sure that they're facing front, they're facing forward, I mean. And so you can just go through Pinterest. Normally, I like to do so for passion projects. Everyone has their hair done, makeup done, lashes done. So the flyers always come out very nice. You're going to click on the three dots and you're going to download the image. When you download the image, make sure you read out the name, or at least recognize the name, because you're going to use that same one to upload on remove.bg if you're using the free version of Canva. If you're using Canva Pro, then you can remove the background on Canva itself. So here we uploaded our image and then it removed the background for us. We're going to download that image, or you can go to create a design that you see right there with the Canva logo. But what I normally do is I just download the image and then I go to uploads, and then I'm going to upload the file of the said image. But for me, because I did not use remove.bg to remove the background, I'm going to remove the background through Canva. So you're going to go to edit photo, then you're going to click on background remover, and then it's going to remove the background for you, just like that. Just the same way as remove.bg, except remove.bg is free. From there, we're going to go to elements. But before we do that, we need to change the background of our canvas. I like to use different colors, but for here, we're going to use gradient. It combines two different colors and it gives it like a gradient look, like a ombre look, I mean. And you can choose the different style that you want. But throughout this flyer, I will be changing the background a lot, depending on how I see fit once everything else starts to come together. So one thing about being a designer, make sure that you're playing around with the tools that you have, because you never know the designs that you can create. It always is good to pay attention to detail when you do so. So we're going to elements, and then we're going to use a certain icon. So here I put in jail measurements. You can put in whatever you're looking for. Just make sure that you're being super specific so that you can find exactly what you're looking for. So I click on the third element. I believe it's the third element. Yes. And when I do so, I'm going to make sure that it fits how I like. One thing I enjoy about Canva's elements is that you can change the colors. So I think I didn't like this specific one. So I went back in and I changed it. I changed it to one that I believed fit my flyer the best, and I went with that. And so I did change the color to white because I want this to be legible. I want people to see exactly what it is that I'm doing in the flyer. I want them to see the creativity and to be able to read exactly what I did. And so you just fit it to the page how you like it. Make sure that you always align and center your image, your elements, and that way it never looks too tacky. It always looks professional. So once I change the colors of the measurements, I'm gonna go in and change the style of the gradient to fit that element, so that it's, like I said, it's very legible to read and that others can see it. From there, I'm just going to play around with it to see how I like it. Once you've done that, go to click your right hand mouse, the right hand clicker on the mouse, and lock down your element so that it doesn't move once you add stuff on top of it. So then you're going to go to your uploads and then you're going to upload your image. If you haven't already removed the background, you do so. From there, I make sure that I align it to the page. It's exactly how I want it to. From there, you click on the elements, and then you can put in blur, or you can put in gradient, whichever one that you prefer. When I normally try to find the blur effect that I like, I go to gradient, and then I click on that specific circular blur effect, and it's free, so you can use it on the free version of Canva. And then I like to make it the same color as my background. That way it just looks like my image is glowing. So I do that, and then I duplicate it multiple times. When you duplicate it across the edges of your image, and then you just make sure that you align it so that it's not running off the page, but it's all centered the same way. So I do that a few times until it no longer shows the edges of my image. So here you'll see I'm adding it multiple times throughout the sides and at the bottom, so that it's really only showing the sides that aren't so sharp. So one thing about being a designer, always make sure that you're paying attention to detail. For this specific effect that I like to do it multiple times until you can't see the edges. And that's just because, for me, I don't think it looks professional. But a lot of the times, maybe people aren't even looking at that. But I am, and I want to make sure that it looks perfect. So in doing this, I select everything, and then I lock everything, because we're going to start adding our words, and we want to make sure that if we need to move our words, it's not also moving our image, it's not moving our gradient. And so we're going to go to elements. Since this is a brand ambassador wanted flyer, we're going to need some handcuffs. So whenever you're creating anything with a theme, make sure that you add the elements, icons, whatever it may be, that speaks to your flyer. So here, because it's, like I said, brand ambassador wanted, I'm looking for handcuffs. Now, let's say if you're not finding what you want from Canva's elements, you can go to Google and type in handcuffs. You can type in handcuffs or handcuffs PNG, and then you'll get the transparent version of handcuffs that you're looking for. So yeah, so you can look through Google, or you can do it from Canva. If you cannot find your image, if you cannot find exactly what you're looking for, always make sure that you're looking everywhere. You want to make sure that you can play around with the tools that you have to find exactly what you're looking for. It will make your flyer that much more perfect. So I've decided to go with the handcuffs that I have on through elements, and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to put it in the corner. Now, a lot of the times when you're adding your elements, you want to add them in corners, because that's where there's more free space. In doing that, it doesn't make it look tacky, but it allows your flyer to at least have like a creative thing going on. So I just like to make sure that when I'm adding elements, they're in the corner, or they're in places where there's a lot of free space. So for this specific flyer, I wanted to add, I believe I added 3 different elements, but it all suits the flyer. This is a brand ambassador wanted flyer, and it is for a lash business. So I'm going to add a most wanted sign. Like I said earlier, one thing I really do like about Canva is that a lot of their elements, you can change the color. Some elements you can't, but most of them you can. And it really makes the flyer so much better when the elements are the same color as your color theme. So we're going for like a pink, black and gray flyer. And so I made the most wanted sign, I made it pink. So in doing that, let's say if you're not getting the pink that you want, you can just click on pink, hot pink, light pink, whatever you want in the elements section. I'll just click on a random graphic, and then I'm going to use the color picker, the color dropper, to change the color to the color that I want the most. And then once I do that, I just delete the graphics off, and yeah, I have the color that I want for that specific element. Yeah, so always make sure that you're using the same color theme. Don't, if you're making a Valentine's Day flyer, you're gonna want to use pinks and reds and whites, but you're not gonna be using a blue. You're not going to be using a yellow. So just always make sure that it makes sense. It always makes sense. So yeah, so here I am trying to choose my font, and I decided to go with a tall font, a font that was like long, if that makes sense. Trying to design, always make sure that you have your fonts down in memory. For me, I've been designing for a very long time, but I still take the time to review the fonts that I have, so that you're not always using the same fonts, but then you're using different ones and for different purposes. But for this one specifically, I'm not looking for something too professional, and I'm not looking for something too like playful at the same time, but something like right in the middle. So make sure that you study the fonts that you have. I decided to go with this font, I believe, and I'm going to align it to the page and make sure that it is the size that you want. Now I selected a certain word. I selected wanted, and then I made it a different color. I made it the same color as the most wanted sign. So once I have that, I'm going to start writing in all the other stuff that that I want on the flyer. A lot of the times your clients are going to ask you, they're going to tell you what they want said on the flyer. So make sure that you're always writing that in a space where people's eyes are going to be drawn to. So here I am trying to find a new element. I have the most wanted sign, I have the handcuffs. Now this is a lash flyer, so I want to add some lashes. So I put in lashes into the element section, and I'm seeing a bunch of lashes here, but I'm not really seeing what I want. So you just have to make sure that you are typing in different things. You might want to type in lashes, you might put in eyelashes, you might put in lash extensions or lash tweezers, whatever it may be. And you'll find what you're looking for. Just make sure that you're using the keywords. So I typed in lashes. I didn't really like this specific element, but I did add it to the page just to see what it would look like. And that's what I mean by play around with the tools that you have. So I put in eyelashes, and I clicked on eyelash extensions. Now the first image I liked a lot, but I didn't want all three of these tweezers on there. So what I did was I rotated it around, and then I sized it up a little bit and removed the other parts of this element just so that it would show this specific part. Now designing is all about illusion. So if you have something and you don't want it there, and let's say you can't erase it, because with these elements sometimes you can't erase the parts that you don't want, try to crop it, or if you can't crop it, try to size it and put it in the corner in a way where you'll only see what you want seen. So so as you're working, make sure that you are sizing everything, you are aligning everything, and that you're putting it in places that you think makes a lot of sense. The whole goal, the whole purpose of this is to make sure that the flyer looks absolutely perfect. Okay, so here we are finally putting in what we want said at the bottom. And we also need a name for this specific business. So I typed in a few things, that are needed for this brand ambassador wanted position. And then I'm going to size it and I'm going to put it down in the position where I want it. So I do this with a few items. And then as I'm doing that, I'm also moving around my elements, moving them around, moving my my images around. And yeah, I just keep doing that until I'm satisfied with the way that it looks. So once I do that, always lock your image in position, just because sometimes your wording and then your image will be overlapping one another, and you never, let's say if your image is in a perfect position, you never want to accidentally move it. Though you could use the undo button to fix it, you just don't want that. So you just want to be able to lock it in position once you have set it in a position that you like. So I realized I didn't have enough space for my for the wording, so I did move a few things upward. And when I did that, I decided to go with the pink color, or maybe I go with the pink color, and then I bolden it. Why? Because you want to make sure that everything that you're writing down is legible 100%. So I do that, and then I add in the other wording that I need. And then once I did that, I went in and added what it is that the wording is for. So I put at least you need to have at least 10K followers. You need to be following us. And then I put the Instagram account. Now, this is just a passion project, so I just add in a fake Instagram account or a fake business name, whatever speaks to your mind, because at the end of the day, this is just for content. It's to get you customers. And so I do that, and then I make sure that the wording is either white or it's either pink, because I want to make sure that the color theme is still consistent. So now I'm going to add in the titles. Now, when I add in the titles, I'm going to add in, I'm just going to write out the qualifications, and I'm making that white. I want that to be seen. And then I'm going to put in what you receive. So you'll see that in just a few seconds. One thing I would stress the most about designing is always make sure that your your wording is aligned to one another. If you put, as you see here, I put in at least 10K followers, and then I put in follow us at Lash Me Out. So when I did that, I put the qualifications in the white, I put that on top, and then I aligned it to at least the 10K followers and the follow us at Lash Me Out. That way it looks like everything is centered. So doing that, I did that to the other side as well with the what you receive. And yeah, I think it's really starting to come together. So at first, you guys are probably just like, what is this? What flyer is she creating? What is she doing? But once you have everything coming together, it starts to look complete. So here, I added another blur, but I see that the blur is on top of the what you receive. So you just use your right hand mouse and then you click on layer, and then it gives you all your layers and all the different things that are overlapping one another. And then I put the blur underneath what you receive. And then as you can see, the what you receive is now on top of the blur. And now you can see the what you receive, and that the blur is not on top of it. So now I'm going to use the check marks. I'm going to go with the check box, the check mark that is within the box. And then I'm going to change the color to white. Then I'm going to put that, after sizing it down, I'm going to put that next to each requirement. So once I do that, I am going to do it to the other side as well. Now, as you can see, the different numbers, it's basically telling you how far apart your flyer is. Your wording is. And with that, it allows you to make sure that it fits perfectly with if it's right across with all the words that you have put down, and the spacing is equal to the words that you have added as well. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that to the personal discount code, and I'm also going to do that to the free lashes every month. Whatever you do to one side, always make sure that you do it to another, just because, like I said, you want everything to look consistent on your flyer. You don't want it to look too far apart. So here is basically the finished product. I like to go in and just make sure that everything looks exactly how I want it done. You want to always make sure that everything looks consistent, everything is up to par, and then we're going to go in and add your business name. Now, you can always add your business name wherever you want it, but what I normally do is I normally add it to the top. Then I want it to stretch out a lot more than what it already was, so I went up to the toolbar, and then I clicked on letter spacing, and then I spaced out the letters a lot better. So once you get that, you align it to the page, and then I'm going to move the most wanted sign into a better place where it's not too busy all in that one section with the image, with the luxury lashes, and then the handcuffs. So I'm going to move that off to the side a little bit. So this will be the finished product. And as you can see, we have our flyer set. So this is the first flyer that we have done, and we're going to continue to the next one. So for this next flyer, we're going to duplicate the page. And then once we do that, we're going to go back to Safari, and we're going to go to Pinterest. So when we go to Pinterest, this time we are creating a Valentine's Day bookings flyer. So we're going to put in into our search button Valentine's Day photo shoot. I believe that's what I put in, and then you can put in whatever you want. You can put in Valentine's Day hair, Valentine's Day makeup, Valentine's Day photo shoot, whatever you want that is going to get you the results where that you're looking for. Basically, I'm looking for a photo shoot because I want the person that I'm putting on the flyer to be holding roses. And so yes, so this flyer is going to be red and black. So let's go for a photo shoot picture where the girl, the person, whoever is wearing those same colors. So you can just look through the search results and then find what works best for you. So I decided to go with this image here. And once I click on that, I'm going to go to the three dots. I'm going to click on the three dots and hope that they have the download image section. If they don't have that option, then you're going to take a screenshot on your phone, on your iPad, your tablet, or your laptop. And if you don't want to do that, if you don't have the screenshot option, you can just go back and find an image that has the download image option. So here I am taking a screenshot. I decided to take a screenshot, and I'm just gonna crop it to where I see that it's to see where it fits best. Once you do that and you've captured your image, you're going to go to the remove.bg if you're using the free version of Canva. So you're going to click on the plus button, or if it's your first image, you're going to click on upload image. And once I find the image that I had took a screenshot of, I'm going to put that into the remove.bg, and then I'm going to let it work its magic. So sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it doesn't, but overall it's gonna do what you need it to do. And you can go into create a design, or you can download your image, and it does it for free. So I am going to go ahead and upload the regular image, and I'm going to remove the background through Canva since I'm using Canva Pro. So once I do that, I'm just going to make sure that the way that it removes the background is exactly how I want it. Sometimes some remove background options, it sometimes might remove the actual thing that you don't want it to remove. Let's say like the head of the person, the hair of the person. So I just like to, test try it just to make sure that it's editing the exact part that I want. So now we're going to find a background for the canvas. So I decided to just go with black because I'm going to use the element section to find the background. So I decided to put in roses background because I wanted the background to have roses. And I chose the first photo that, what was it, the first photo? I think it was one of the roses images that they had. Yeah, it was the first image. So I used that, and then I maximize it to the sides of the page. I'm going to move it to the top, and then I am going to crop it to how I want it. Then I'm gonna use the transparency button to minimize the transparency. I don't want it to be too bold, but I do want the roses to still be seen. So then afterwards, I'm gonna go to elements and I'm going to type in gradient. Get that same blur that we used in the first flyer that we made. And I am going to make sure that it is the same color as the background, which is black. And then I'm going to duplicate it a few times just across the whole image to get that blur effect. I'm gonna do that a few times, and once I get it to how I want it and it has blurred all the sections of the roses that I want it to, I'm gonna go in and see what that would look like, I guess, on the background. So it's all coming together slowly but surely. You want to make sure that you're experimenting with your flyers as you go. Sometimes you just get random ideas as you're creating your designs that maybe you didn't have when you first started designing it. So I decided to then make it a little bit bigger, and because the legs, as you can see, are cropped, I'm going to put that to the side of the canvas. It looks like her legs are just off to like the side, but you don't see that part. If I had moved it to the middle, then it would just look kind of not how I would want it. So I really like how this is coming together so far. So now we're gonna go to the elements section and just make sure that we have all of the different elements that we want for the specific flyer. So this is going to be a February bookings open flyer. So in the background, it's going to be specifically for Valentine's Day. So for the background, I'm just going to type in the Valentine's Day, and then I'm going to find a specific font that I believe would work well with this flyer. So I decided to go with the tall font, and then I'm going to maximize it to the size of the page. And then I'm going to move it all the way to the top. Not all the way to the top, because like I was saying in my other in the other flyer that we created, I like to make sure that the company name, the business name, is at the top. So I like to make room for that one. And then I kept the Valentine's Day white, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make the transparency a little bit less so that it's not like fully white. Now I copied and pasted all like the Valentine's Day the wording that I wanted, and then I'm gonna use the layer button in the Canva to move the image to the top so that it looks like it's on top of the Valentine's Day wording. Once I do that, I'm going to make sure that the blur is also on top of the wording, because I want, first of all, like when we're putting the words down, I want to make sure that you guys can see the words that we're going to put down. Like, let's say, for example, the discount, how much the discount will be, or like the name of the business, the website, whatever it is. I want you guys to be able to see all of that. So we're going to go in and we're moving everything, all of the blur. We're going to move that down, and we're going to create more blurs so that the Valentine's Day wording isn't making the other words that we plan to add illegible. So now I'm just adding more of the blur throughout. You can just add as much as you want. You can make it as perfect as you want. For me, I just decided to add it as much as I could, but I still wanted it to like still be seen, like to still have like that like gradient effect of like ombre, where it's like getting less and less noticeable, but it's still there. So I did that, and then I am going to go ahead and outline my image. But before I do that, I'm going to look for a shape that I can add to next to the image, and I just want to make sure that the specific image it's going to be like something Valentine's Day related. So I decided to go for a red heart. So I'm looking for a heart right now, and as you can see, it's gray. But the great thing about Canva is that you are allowed to change the colors of the different shapes that you want and some of the elements that they have. So I'm just gonna make the heart the same color as the roses, and then I'm gonna move that down, but I'm gonna rotate it just a little bit, and then I'm gonna add that next to the image. So as I do that, this is where I'm gonna be writing down my the discount. And the reason why I decided to add the red heart is because, like I said earlier, I really want it to be legible. So here I clicked on my photo, and then I went to the shadows, and this is where you're going to find the outline. A lot of people have a hard time finding where the outline is, but yes, when you go to edit photo, you go down to shadows, and then you go to outline. So when you do that, you're going to click on the outline color that you want. I decided to still go for a red, and once I did that, you just like to make sure that the size is okay as to how you want it. You can make it thicker, you can make it thinner. I like to make mine a little bit thinner just so that it's not overpowering the image. So once you do that, you can go for how much blur you want and the distance from the image that you want, because it still allows a little bit of a shadow in the background. So you just want to make sure it's not too much of a shadow, but more so an outline. So once I do that, and I have my red heart and I have my outline for my image, I am going to go ahead and make it the same colors. Like I was saying in the other flyer, you want to make sure that your colors are consistent with one another. So that's what I did here. And then I am adding the discount that I'm going to have for this flyer special, and then I'm going to put it on the red heart. I would say 3 things that you want for your flyers is to make sure that everything is legible, make sure everything is aligned. So make sure it's in the center, make sure it is in the middle, and if you have, like I said, like an image like this where it's like at the bottom and not so in the middle and not so centered, you want to make sure that whatever you add to the side of that is in the middle of that image. I hope that makes sense. You just want to make sure that it's not for like example, this heart right here is like at the same level as the image, and it's not like too much over like the top, and it's not too much to the bottom. It's like right there in the center. And so now trying to find a good font for this specific part of the flyer. And once you find a font that you like, you can go ahead and add that to your heart shape. So another thing that I would say is that if you're going to use cursive, make sure that the only thing that is capitalized is the first word, the first letter of that cursive lettering. Don't make the full thing uppercase. It's going to look so tacky. Just make sure that, let's say if my name is Tiana, make sure that the T is capitalized, but the IANA should be lowercase and not uppercase as well. It just throws off the whole fancy look, and we don't want that either. And like I said, make sure it's legible. So always make sure that when you're using cursive, it's not too overpowering. So here, I like to play around with all my elements. If it doesn't look right, that's okay. You just want to make sure that at least it's still it still looks nice. So here I'm just playing around with the outlines for the heart. I just wanted it to pop a little bit more. So I just played around with the outlines. And once I realized, you know what, it's enough. Like I don't need to add more outlines. I don't need to add more shadows. I just kind of like let it be how it was when I first put the heart there. And if you do ever want something to stand out more, just try the shadow work and try the outlines. But the outlines don't necessarily have to be a different color from the color that you have. For example, for this heart, it's red. The outline can also be the same color, just to add a little bit more boldness, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like white or blue. It can still be that same color. It just adds a little bit more depth. So here I am just adding the name of the business. We left space at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the business, and I'm going to minimize it. Then we're going to go to the toolbar, and then we're going to spread it. So once we go to the toolbar, after I align the fonts, we're going to go to the toolbar. And then when you go into the toolbar, you see the line spacing option. So there's line spacing, then there's letter spacing. We go with the letter spacing. And I like to just maximize it till I can't maximize it anymore. I love this feature. It just gives a whole new like professional look, and I enjoy it. But you don't have to do it for every single flyer. You still want the flyers to still have its own personality. So once I do that, I just play around with the fonts a little bit. You just want to make sure that your fonts are exactly how you want them to look. So here I am pretty much done with this flyer, but I like to go in and just play around with it just a little bit more, just in case maybe there's an option that I could have gone for, but maybe I didn't go for. So so I just like to do that. I just play around with it. If I wanted to add a little rose, I'll just add a little rose. If you want to add more hearts, you can do that as well. But I really like to just make sure that I absolutely love the flyer that I created, and that there's not anything else that I would do to the flyer before I send it off. So so here, I tried to do like roses all around the heart, and I realized no, it doesn't look good. So I went in and tried to look for other heart shapes and other hearts that I could add, and I realized, you know what, this flyer looks absolutely amazing the way that it looks, so I'm not going to change anything else. But I would urge you to make sure that that's exactly how you feel before you send the flyer off, because sometimes you might look back at your design and you're just like, oh, I should have added this and this, I should have added so and so. But make sure that you absolutely love your flyer, how you did it, before you send it off. Because if you don't like it, your client's not going to like it. So just make sure you like it before you send it off. So anyways, I did a few things. I didn't like this, so I just ended up deleting it off. But overall, this is what I decided to go with for this flyer, and I absolutely love it, and I hope you guys do too. And we have one more flyer to go. Hi guys, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the next page. This is our third and our last flyer. We're going to go to Pinterest, and when we go to Pinterest, we are looking for like something pink related, whether it's like pink hair, like blushed makeup, whatever it is. But I'm going to go for the pink hair just because our flyer is going to be it's going to be like pink and gold. So once we go for the pink hair, I'm just going to type in pink hair shoot. So the hair is going to be pink, and I'm just going to go through and find the one that I like the most. So once I choose the one that I like, I'm going to download the image, and then I'm going to go to remove.bg if you're using the free version of Canva, or Canva Pro, so that you can remove your background there. So if you're using remove.bg, you just put that image in and you remove the background. Then if you're using the Canva Pro, we're just going to upload our image. And once we upload our image, we are going to remove the background that way. So this being our last flyer, this is going to be one of the most common flyers that you're going to see. A lot of clients come in and they just want something to like market their business or something that they can post majority of the time. We're going to be working with mockups in this specific flyer. So go to the app section and you're going to download mockups. Now, the mockups that we're using, you can also go to your elements section and type in photo frame. Phone frame, I mean. When you type in phone frame, all the different phones come up, all the different laptops, whatever it is that you want to use. But I specifically use the mockups app because the mockup looks a lot more real and it doesn't look like a cartoon like the phone frame does. So once we've done that, we're gonna go in and find a background for our flyer. So I decided to go for this like pink silky background, but you can really go for whatever background that you like. But I wanted something girly, something like sweet and pink. So I decided to go for this type of pink, and we're going to lower the transparency. So whenever I'm creating a flyer, the background is always in low transparency than the others. After that, I'm gonna lock this image in place so that it doesn't move around while I'm putting other stuff on top of it. So here you're gonna go to your elements section, or actually we're gonna click on the add a heading, and then we're gonna type in "we love selfies." Like I said, this is one of the most common flyers that you're going to get from a customer because they like to post it multiple times throughout the week, whether on their story, whatever it is. So a lot of customers like this specific flyer theme, which is the "we love selfies" or "tag is to be featured." So the spacing was too far apart. So I went into the spacing section, and instead of putting in letter spacing where the font is just spaced, we're gonna use the line spacing section, and we're gonna move the wording closer together. So once we do that, I am going to make sure that the words are how I want it to be. So the font in this case, I just wanted something that was in like the Times New Roman theme, if that makes sense. But I still wanted it to be like girly, still professional. This is going to be like a very girly girl type of flyer. As you can see, it's going to be mostly pink. So you just want to make sure that you're getting that. Now, I decided to change the actual background of the canvas to white so that the background that I had picked is going to be a little bit more brighter, but it's still going to be in low transparency. So though it's a little bit brighter, it's still in low transparency, and it's not taking away from the words that we have placed. So once I play around with the fonts that I have, I'm going to then put that into its place. So like I was saying with the other flyers, you want to make sure that you play around with the fonts a lot so that you can actually get a vibe for the different fonts that you have, so that you know exactly what you're going to go for whenever you're creating a flyer, because you can spend hours and hours and hours working on fonts, but once you actually study them, you don't have to spend so much time on them, and it doesn't take away from the actual work itself. So here, I was trying to go for the "we love selfies." I decided to go for the "we love" in a different font than the selfies. That way, like I said, it can give like a very girly girl vibe. Now, one thing I would say that a lot of designers like myself, we do, is that once you get like a straight font, and you want something to be a little bit more eye-catching, the last words of whatever you're putting into your flyer, you can make those specific words cursive so that when you overlay it on top of the straight font, it just gives a very nice, professional, and fancy look. So here, like the words are in all uppercase, and as I was saying with the other flyer, you never want the cursive to be all uppercase. It does not look nice at all. It does not look nice. Make sure that the first letter is uppercase and then everything else is lowercase. So here I'm just playing around with the font still, and as I do that, these three flyers, I normally charge about $60. And me charging $60, let's say for each flyer, $60 times three, that's $180. Now, this just took me about 57 minutes. This whole video is about 57 minutes. So imagine how much you could make doing designs. This If I sold these three flyers, I would have made $180 in just 1 hour. So definitely, I would say designing is something that a lot of people should look into, especially the fact that people are already doing the nails, the lashes, the hair installs. You'd be basically at the top working with them so that they can create their content to get them more customers. So when you charge a certain price, you're making that price, and when you get really, really, really good with designing, you can even do it faster. Sometimes it takes me only 10 minutes and I make about $200. So do with that what you will. So anyway, I finally played around with the fonts, and I guess I like this, and I decided to click on the mockup that I wanted, which is just the iPhone. I'm gonna go back in and I'm going to take my image. Now with this image, I'm not going to remove the background just yet, because I'm gonna go in, and because this is just a mock-up, the background can stay, but we will be removing the background in just a little bit. So anyway, once you click on your mock-up and you go back to the mock-up, the app, you can move the image around to fit the screen how you want it. So that's what I did here. And then I'm going to go in and try to see what it looks like with the phone frame option within the elements. Now, with the phone frame, I was saying to you guys earlier, it's just a very cartoon look, and I didn't really like it. You can change the colors on it, but I just decided to go with the mockup app because the mockups look a lot more realistic. And so once I did that, I decided to just go with the mockups that I had at first. But I just like to play around with the options that I have. As a designer, make sure that that's what you do. Play around with the options that you have to create different looks, and honestly, just open the creativity that you have within yourself. So yeah, with the phone frame mockup, you can change the colors. You can make it whatever colors that you want, but I don't like that. So I just went ahead and deleted it and kept the one that I had at first. So as you can see, I just tilted it off to the side. It just gives so much more of like a playful look, but it's still very, very professional, as you can see. Then as I play around with my different tools, I like to make sure that the sizing of my fonts and the sizing of my images complement one another. So nothing is too big, nothing is too small. Everything can be read, everything is seen. And then I went to the element section and typed in IG likes. Now, as you can see, this one is not the free version, but they do have the free options. Once you go through the see all button, you can see all the different options, and there's some in there that are free. Now, one thing I like about Canva, you can change the colors to match your theme. So I went in and made the Instagram likes icons. I made them the two different colors, the white and the pink, to match the flyer, all in all. So then I went in and I played around with the colors for the fonts. Make sure that it can be read. That's one thing that I would say, is make sure it can be read, because if it cannot and a customer is trying to read it, they're just going to dismiss it and look the other way, look at other stuff on Instagram instead of looking at your eye-catching flyer. So always, always, always make sure that it can be read. If you want to use a certain color and you feel like it cannot be read, you can go ahead and use the bold option just for that, and it will definitely help it to be a little bit more legible once you make it a little bit more bold. So, as you can see with the We Love Selfies flyers, there's not really much that you can add to it, but you really definitely you have to go through your elements to see what else you can add. So, here I decided to add a little bit of gold to make it pop a little bit more. So what you do is you just type in gold, and then when you go to your photos, you can grab whatever gold photo that you like. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I am going to put that at the bottom. Now, I am trying to see what it will look like at the edges, and I think that this looked pretty nice. So I'm gonna add it there, and then I'm also going to add this image to the bottom. So once I add it to the bottom, that's where the social media is gonna go. So whatever you do to the top, make sure you do to the bottom. And whatever you do to the sides, make sure you do it to both sides. But if you don't want to do it to both sides, at least make sure that if you're using a different color like gold, make sure you have something other than that one gold in that one section. Make sure you have it somewhere else. So let's say if you had gold on one side, you can just make the words gold as well or something. So here, because we have so much free space, I decided here to then remove the background. So when I removed the background, I made the image a little bit bigger, and then I decided to crop her face in half in this image and then add it to the side. In doing this, I think it made it really, really cool, and it made it kind of like a 3D look. And I tried to see what it would look like transparent and what it looks like without the transparency, but I realized that I like it without the transparency. So I decided to just make it the way that it was before, and then I put that off to the side. So next, what I do here is I'm going to then add the gold, and I'm gonna put it across the bottom. So right now it's starting to really come together. We Love Selfie flyers aren't too how do I put it? It's not too much going on, but at the same time, this is where it really matters, like your creativity, what else you can add, because you want it to pop. You still want it to look good, but you don't want it to look basic. So always make sure you're using the right colors, and make sure you're using the right font, because you still want it to be very legible. So here there was a font that I had seen earlier, and I wanted to go with that for the words. So this is for the tag us to be featured, and I put that across the bottom. So once I did that, I made sure to align it. I went into the toolbar, and then I typed on the letter spacing, and then I maximized it so that it can go across the whole flyer. And then I centered it on the gold, and then I aligned it to the middle so that it's not too far off to the left or too far off to the right. So then I decided to go in and make the triangle gold parts at the top left and the top right a little bit more transparent. So once I did that, I really just kind of sat there and tried to think to myself, what else could I add? So once I was just doing that, I just went through my elements, and I decided to add more shapes. So here I added this shape. I don't know what shape this is, but I thought it was kind of cool. And I added that in between the mock-up and in between the image, the bigger image. And then I'm gonna make the color pink, just like the selfies. And if I didn't want to do it like that, then I was going to at least make it like a different shade of the pink that was on her sweater. So once I did that, I went in and I added a few things that I wanted to add on there. And once I did that, I put that on top of the shape. Now, a lot of the times when customers want you to add certain things to their flyer, you need to make sure that where you're putting it makes sense. So because this was something that I felt like was important to add, I made sure it was somewhere at the center of like the eye. So where the customer's eyes would roll off, the target audience, where their eyes would first wander. And once I added that, I changed the color to something that was legible, and then I left it right there in that specific section. Now, when you're scrolling through Instagram, the first thing you're gonna look at is the 25% off best selfie of the month. You're gonna look there, and then you're gonna roam off to the mockups, and you're gonna roam off to the tag us to be featured. Now, we need a name for this hair business. So I typed in the name of the hair business that I chose, Hair Galore Department, and then I put follow us. Now make sure that whenever you're adding the name of the business, it's always at the top or somewhere in the center, because you want to make sure that your customers are seeing where they can follow you. So once I did that, I found the font that I wanted for that, and then I sized it to where it would fit across the page, and then I used the letter spacing option to space it across the flyer. So this is basically the finished product. Now, once I have finished with this flyer, I'm just gonna go in and see the different things that I can add or take off or change. And I decided to lock the gold triangle in position and then select the We Love Selfies. Now, when I selected the We Love Selfies, right, it's gonna give you the option to group them together. The We Love Selfies together. So once it gives the option to group, you're going to group it, and then you can make it the same size. You can move it all together at once. And yeah, I decided to make it a little bit smaller, but still it's eye-catching, and your customers are going to love it. So this is the last flyer of this for this video, and I hope you guys liked it. Thank you.